I'm the Kinky Polyatheist, and today on the show we're going to be talking to Sir Drgn and Sassy about how they navigate having multiple partners. So today we're going to talk to Sir Drgn and Cassandra.
I'm Sir Drgn, or GW. Been poly, also in the kink and leather communities for 6 years.
I'm Cassandra, or Sassy. He calls me Little One, so if that happens to come up, that's why. I've been poly pretty much my entire life.
Like, subscribe, and don't forget we also have a podcast now that you can check out. So we talked a bit about how you met and how you were open about how you're communicating with your relationships and how they're working. And I'm curious, where are you today? Like, how many partners do you guys have, and how do you make it work?
I have 2 partners. One of them does work nights while I work days, so we see each other a couple times a month. And then I have another partner who is more stable, and so we see each other usually about once a week, if not a little bit more than that. He has 2 kids and a wife at home, so that part gets a little like scheduling sometimes because we also occasionally have children at home, and in the summer we'll permanently have children at home. Hopefully, scheduling can get a little complicated sometimes. But luckily for us, both on ends of this relationship is both sets of children do know that we are poly, so his kids know that I'm a girlfriend, and our kids know that he is a boyfriend. So it's very easy to have movie nights at home or game nights at home, and it's not any awkward because everybody knows. And then his wife and I are friendly with each other as well, so we get pedicures and stuff like that. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so everybody is very happy and consenting, and so it makes it a lot easier to hang out and do things as a group or individually if there's no babysitter, have them come over or go over there.
Yeah, I've definitely found that when I'm in a healthy relationship with somebody, odds are they're also in a healthy relationship with their other partner, which means I'd probably be in a healthy metamor relationship with that person, which is wonderful.
Yeah, the one partner that she's talking about that has kids, me and him are best friends.
Awesome.
Best friends.
Does that make your life difficult? What does that look like?
Sometimes, yes. They talk to each other about me. So my other partner does not like conflict. He doesn't like to come to me with the issues. So he'll go to him, and then he'll come to me and be like, well, you are in his feelings, you're doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, why doesn't he communicate that with me? I'm the relationship. Or I complained once about him to him, and we were on a date at his work.
Yeah,
and I had said something, so he went up and tried to fix it, and I was like, I don't need you to fix his problems. So that part gets, but it's super nice that they're friends, because if anything ever happened to his major relationship and it doesn't work out, I wouldn't lose a friend because I still have a friend in him, and they would still be best friends. So that part's nice.
Were you and this meta friends before Cassandra? No. So you and Cassandra got together, and then through Cassandra, you met this person.
Yeah, we met him at a poly discussion group.
Nice.
And he was complaining about how he's having a hard time meeting partners, and I joked and I said, if you ever want to go on a date, call me. And he reached out on Facebook and added the poly discussion group Facebook page and said, were you serious? And I was like, yeah, if you ever want to go out, let me know. And we just set it off. And then we have a rule that after 2 dates, or if we feel like the relationship is leading somewhere, that we introduce our partner to the primary, so that way they can get to each other and make sure you're in a healthy relationship, that you're not looking through stained, what is the saying?
Rose-colored glasses.
That's it.
Rose-colored glasses.
Yes. Not looking through rose-colored glasses, and it's safety. And again, I kind of touched on it earlier, I do have trust issues and stuff like that, so I do have to sometimes get into abusive relationships throughout the life of him. And so he makes sure that I don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So you actually got someone in your corner.
Maybe this will help. I'm an empath. I also typically have very accurate insights about a person just by meeting them a couple of times. Historically, when I had not followed my gut about a negative feeling I've had towards somebody, my partners have gotten hurt. So I don't do that anymore. After the 5th or 6th time, okay, I understand, we're good, right? So I was actually the one that brought it up to her that if she feels that a relationship is going somewhere, to let me meet them. Because I want my gut to get a chance.
Nice.
And yeah, there's been a couple of times that my gut's been like, and it didn't end up working out anyway. So I didn't have to really intervene or anything, and I won't intervene until it's an absolute must, because she isn't, even though she's a little, she is an adult, right? But, I like to know if I need to worry, if I need to keep an eye out, if I need to keep track of certain things. And it's for her safety. It's my responsibility to take care of her. It's a responsibility that I have put on myself, because she is an adult. But that's what it is to be in a relationship with me. I'm going to take care of you. It's who I am, and I'm not going to change that.
And it's also a power that I gave him in our DS dynamics. Mm-hmm. It's actually in our contract that I allow him to vet every partner I have, whether it's a play partner, a dating partner, even sometimes friendships. Mm-hmm. If he ever thinks that I'm being manipulated or any sort of negative things are happening to me through these relationships, it is in our contract that he has the right to step in and say, I need you to end that relationship. Mm. And that's, again, because I don't make always the best decisions, especially if I am in what we call the closet. It's a negative place in my head that I get to.
Okay. I think it's really interesting that with this topic, you're bringing things to light, and you're letting her know things that are bothering you and your gut feelings. Mm-hmm. And it's also based in a lot of trust and love here. It's not a case of, say, a more toxic relationship where someone might be trying to manipulate their partner to not date other people. It sounds like the complete opposite, which is wonderful. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad people can hear someone say that out loud. Like, a big part of poly is that you care about the person you're with and you want them to date amazing people. And if those aren't amazing people, talk about it.
Yeah, she was accurate in the fact that in our contract, I can say you need to break up with them. I have never done that, nor will I ever.
So that leads to a dirty word that I want to bring up, and that is the word veto.
Veto power.
Yeah.
So how do you guys consider this compared to veto power?
Technically, within the contract, which has expired like a year ago. Okay? We never signed another one. We never renegotiated. It's just really moot at this point. But that was essentially giving me the veto power.
And it sounds like your goal was to never use it unless you were absolutely forced to.
And he
That's
doesn't.
Awesome.
He communicates with me. These are things that I've noticed. And I come to him and say, well, that's what you're noticing, but you're not seeing this side of it. Because he's not in every conversation. He's not in a group chat or in one of those parent apps where he can see and read everything and listen to every phone call, and he's not on every date. So I'm like, well, this is what I'm complaining to you about, or this is what you saw at that point, but this is everything else. And I will show him the phone and be like, see, these are all the other conversations that led up to this moment that you're thinking is a bad moment. And he'll either be like, okay, or he'll say, well, no, you had rose-colored glasses over here because that right there was not okay. And then I'm like, oh. And so then I start looking for signs myself once I take those glasses off. And I'm like, wait, no, this isn't healthy. This isn't a good dynamic.
Yeah. More times than not, I have to help her put those glasses back on. And again, it's because that dark space in her head, the closet, it's the trauma that she's gone through in past relationships. She has those trust issues. She sees things in a negative space that aren't really there oftentimes. And more often than not, I use the power of that veto that you were talking about in the opposite way.
He tries to show me that what I read was not in the tone in which I read it, or not the context of which I read it, or something like that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if my feelings are hurt over and over and over again because I'm reading, however you're writing it, I'm reading it wrong. Mm-hmm. If it's been a month of this issue, then we're just not
a good
part. Yeah, because I should not be
feeling that way all the time.
Yes.
And I think that's awesome that it's not only, you're not only standing in to help with like a veto feeling and trying not to veto, but you're also stepping in with a encouragement. I know I want this to succeed for you.
Yeah. And I think that actually brings up a huge point in poly in general, is compersion.
Oh, yeah.
Me being a hedonist, and for those of you who don't know, a hedonist is somebody who gets off on pleasure. The more pleasure being had, the happier this one is.
And not just your own.
No, everybody else's. More specifically, everybody else's.
He likes to see people happy.
Yeah.
Yep.
He gets happy based off of other people's happiness.
Yeah. And the closer I am to you, the more passionate I feel about you, the more love I have towards you, the happier I get for your pleasure, the more pleasure I get for your pleasure. Okay? So being a hedonist, being an empath. I know a lot of people struggle with compersion. It's such a natural thing for me. One, I know that I cannot fulfill all the needs of any one person. So I know that you are going to be happier if you find multiple of the right partners. So I am going to do everything that I can to help you find those right partners so you can be as happy as possible, so I can be as happy as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to date somebody else so I can be happy. But just come home to me at night.
Yes, absolutely.
We don't go to bed alone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No? So unless it's been negotiated well before, if there's an overnight date planned, it's planned.
Mm.
It's not
Weeks in advance.
Yeah, it's not a, hey, I'm going over to my partner's house, and all of a sudden, hey, I'm staying the night.
Gotcha, yeah. Because you're primaries, and because you have a household that's running, that does sound a lot more responsible to not just call in and say, I'm not coming home.
It's not only that, it also helps with my jealousy. I don't want him to just feel randomly, I'm staying the night at my other partner's house, and I'm like thinking in my head all night, well, what are they doing? For me, he needs to be distracted when he's on dates or when he's with other partners. I need that distraction, and so I don't want to be in bed alone all night, staying up, tossing and turning, going, well, I bet they're still having the best sex of their life while I'm sitting here by myself, and then he comes home when I'm angry and sleep deprived and all that stuff. So it just helps us mentally prepare.
Helps both of us. Because coming home to an angry and tired little one is not fun.
I think it's a really interesting topic you just brought up, and that is when one of you is on a date or spending the night somewhere, what kind of stuff do you guys do to gear up for the person who's not out there spending the night?
This is a really good question for her, because me, nothing.
Okay.
I'm good.
That's not true. You've had spouts of jealousy before where you had to go to a lunch or you distract yourself with late website stuff or another leather club's website stuff.
Yeah, the first time you went out, then I'm good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm every time.
I don't know.
Some of the things I do is maybe indulge in Hallmark movies because I don't get to watch them very much when he's home. I'll call up some girlfriends from the vanilla side that I don't get to see very often because they don't come to community things. So I'll use the time to catch up with them, maybe grab dinner or drinks. I'll try to see if there's a lunch happening, go to one of those, see a movie, make a date with another partner. Mm-hmm. Pretty much anything. But mostly I indulge in Hallmark movies because he doesn't like Hallmark. I love Hallmark.
So going back to a previous topic here of how I'm best friends with one of our other partners, being guys in the guy mentality of let's make stuff happen. Me and him planned like a whole date, me going out with my partner and him going out with her, and like 2 days later she's like, I've got a date planned on Tuesday.
That happened a lot.
And you already know about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, because he'll be like, what's on my schedule? And that's just part of our de-attainment that's kind of stayed is I'm his memory. That's what he calls me. He'll say, memory, what's our availability this week? And I'll say, you have Tuesday free. I'll say, you have Tuesday free. I don't say we. Mm-hmm. He doesn't follow up with, well, what are you doing that day? So then he messages my other partner. He's like, hey, I'm going to ask my other partner out for Tuesday. Can you take Sandra out? He never even looks at the calendar. And I'm like, I'm already got something on. I was looking forward to that one. But I'll leave that one for a backup because that one canceled.
So I have a question. If he's one of your best friends, it sounds like on moments where they're both going out and doing something, you've got your primary and your best friend out doing something, and say you can't go on a date with your other partner. What do you end up doing? What's your default?
Whatever the hell I want. Sometimes it's sitting on the couch doing nothing.
No, that is not true. You are sitting on the couch binge watching that one monster thing in the underground world thing with the vampire things and the werewolf things and the things, or the Cobra Kai things.
Yes, there are TV shows that I only watch by myself.
Huh.
There's a lot of stuff online that I do. I mean, YouTube channel, web designer, graphic artist, graphic designer.
So it's almost a moment to just do the things you want to do for you.
Yes. I try to take advantage of that stuff for some self-care.
Nice.
I mean, that time is me time. Mm-hmm. And I do enjoy that me time. That does not mean that I am not ecstatically happy when she gets home.
How can you not be? I'm adorable.
Yes, she is.
Personally, I've noticed that when my partner gets home from a date and they're in a great mood, like it's just even better that I'm happy they're home. They're also just had a great date, and it just turns into a great night of just everyone's happy. Mm-hmm. It's a great place to start.
But let's be honest, in our life, there's not a lot of downtime. We don't really watch a lot of TV because when I am not on a date, he's usually doing something for the leather community or one of the thousands of charities that we help out or something. Same thing for me is if he's out on a date, yes, I watch homework, but I'm usually on my phone doing something or talking to somebody off a ledge or working with one of the charities we work with or helping out the poly world somehow with someone who's doing their spout of jealousy or going through their I'm not enough. He wouldn't need another partner if I wasn't enough. Talking to somebody off that ledge.
You want to give me an example?
It's very easy in the poly community to compare. People do it in your vanilla world. We do it 3 times as hard, I feel like, in the poly world. And that's just my opinion. Because you then are comparing your relationship dynamic with that person's relationship dynamic. You're comparing your body. You're comparing your hair color, your eye color. She's skinny, I'm not. She's blonde, I'm not. Whatever it is. The same thing with men. I know my other partner compares himself to him all the time. Well, he's bald-headed with a beard, and he's 6 foot tall. I'm 5'7" with no beard. And how can you like him and like me at the same time? And I run a jealousy handbook, and a lot of people reach out to me and talk about these jealousies and how they're thinking this is no longer the lifestyle for them or anything like that. And I have to sit back and talk to them and be like, okay, but when this moment passes, my number one phrase that I live off of is you never make permanent decisions based off a temporary emotion. Ever. Nice. Sit back, work with the feeling, let it pass a day. Let it pass a few hours. Whatever time you have to give it, let it see where it is in a minute. Because if you talk yourself out of poly based off of jealousy or comparison or anything like that, you could walk away from the best relationships you've ever had with people.
On like a knee-jerk reaction or a triggered moment.
Exactly. Yeah. A triggered moment of, well, how can he like my big butt when he's with this skinny, what you call a twig? You know, that sort of thing. And how can he like me? I have this hair, but all these other girls he dates have pixie haircuts or whatever it is.
Personally, for me, if I may interject, I've noticed that the monogamy world has a lot of pressure. What's your type? And what I've learned is I like variety.
Yeah, that's my type. Variety.
So
that's what he says all the time.
Yeah. What's my type?
And it's crazy
Everything.
that I used to think I had a type. Yeah. And then I realized really quickly I don't have a type. I really just want to meet people where they're at and go from there. We're either going to connect or not. In that way, some ways I might refer to myself as pansexual, right? Only I'm straight.
And that's why I said I can have love relationships with a woman. I just don't want to have a sexual relationship with you. But I can have that intimate, deep, pansexual. Yeah. We could be girlfriend and girlfriend. Held hands, go on a date, fall in love, as long as there's no sex about it. Yeah. Unless it's like in a threesome setting, which we can get into another day.
So yeah, I wonder if the average monogamous person will ever be able to figure that out. That feeling of being allowed to have more than one type.
I don't think so.
One of the best things I ever found, and this is for all the monogamous people out there. Do you like apples? Do you like oranges? Why do you have to choose?
I agree.
Peel an orange, cut up that apple, Enjoy. Where do you think fruit salad came from?
Fruit salad. Orgy.
Fruit salad was invented because someone didn't want to have to choose which fruit to bring to a picnic. So he threw everything inside of a bowl and said, we'll just have it all.
Yep.
And you can enjoy every single bite of every single one.
Yep.
Oh, I'm tired of apples today, or, apples is irritating me, so I'm going to go find orange and I'm going to go out with him, and then I'm going to go back to my apple because that's my primary and favorite fruit, and I will be less upset or less whatever because I got emotion out that I needed to get out, but I did not focus it negatively into that direction.
I love this analogy because you will never look at an apple and expect it to be an orange.
Yeah.
You just don't go there looking for example, extra juicy, falling apart, and all that stuff. You never go to the apple looking for an orange, so you never compare. You look at the orange under the orange standards and the apple under the apple standards, and when you're in the mood to bite into an apple, you go there. You never hold an orange accountable for not presenting like that.
I can eat a peach for hours.
I love it, man.
This is what I deal with all the time.
All the time.
All
this
the
is
time.
me all the time.
This is why I need other partners, people.
So now that we're actually on this subject of how monogamy is compared to poly, there's just a few things that I'd like to throw out there.
Yeah.
I actually have this conversation with a lot of people because I'm out to everybody, including people at work. So I end up having a conversation with a lot of monogamous people about, well, how can you do that? I don't get it. If you really do your research into human history, monogamy was not a thing until the late 1700s. Mm-hmm. And if you really dig deep, monogamy only came about because there was a rash of sexually transmitted diseases, and the church, who was the governing power at the time, said, well, we gotta do something about this, and they said, one man, one woman. Mm-hmm. And it's just been that way ever since. But naturally, within the animal kingdom, and we are animals, I think there's only two. Yeah, I am. Yeah. I think there's only 2 or 3 species on the entire planet that are naturally monogamous. Mm-hmm. Emperor penguins are one of them. Mm-hmm. I'm not a penguin. Are you a penguin?
Nope.
You a penguin?
You would want to be a penguin.
No, I would not, because women penguin hunt while the man stays with the egg. I don't understand that. If I'm birthing a thing, you are the one hunting to feed the thing.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be a panda.
Yeah, panda. I think pandas are monogamous. I think panda's the third one.
I want to be a non-monogamous panda.
There you go.
With peak bows.
But yeah, so when you think about this concept that human beings are not naturally monogamous, monogamy wasn't even a thing until a little over 200 years ago.
And it sounds like based on necessity.
Based off of necessity, right? Which science and the understanding of safe sex practices doesn't make it as much of a necessity anymore.
Has overcome
that. Yeah. There is a baser instinct. It's called survival of the species. There's a reason why sex feels good. There's a reason why we become emotionally attached to other people. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's very much a hardwired thing in us. So there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're communicating.
Open and honest.
Open and honest and complete communication. Mm-hmm.
You cannot do poly without communication. If you're not a great communicator, you might want to get on that bandwagon before you decide you want to try poly. Because if you cannot communicate every single ounce of your needs and where your lines are and where your other partner's lines are and where your comfort levels are and all that, this is not going to work for you.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I've said many times was, if you think one relationship is hard, try 2.
Yes.
Or 3.
Yeah.
Have 3 girls mad at you at one time. Have 2 boyfriends mad at you at one time because you're in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Or Mother Nature came for a visit and...
I honestly... Well, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
I also think that it's also nice to have feedback from multiple people. If I'm in a bad mood or if I have a bad pattern, and I've got more than one partner kind of basically tuning me into it, I'm more likely to listen because they got me outvoted. Like,
and so that actually goes back to what we were talking about earlier with me trying to convince her that she was a little.
Yeah.
I was telling her for 3 months. It took other people telling her for her to finally go, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also kind of interesting because on Sunday I was in a bad mood, and I don't know why I was in a bad mood. I woke up in a bad mood, and our kid said, "You're in a bad mood." He said, "You're in a bad mood." So I immediately texted my other partners, "I'm in a bad mood today, just so y'all know." And they all were like, "Good to know. You have a good day. We'll talk to you tomorrow."
Nice.
Hey, if I got my primary people telling me I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to pre-warn, because text messages can get perceived wrong. And so if I'm in a bad mood and I'm frightened and we could get in a fight over what you respond to my emotions without you knowing I'm in these emotions. No.
Yeah. I've actually got a similar agreement with myself that I don't text when I'm in a bad mood. And if I'm finding myself in an argument over text, I call it out immediately and say, I do not argue over text. Would you like to get together and talk about this tomorrow when we calm down?
I remember that about one of the first dates that we went on where we had a conversation about that. And you're like, I need to go meet my ex-partner because we were getting in the conversation. And you were like, I'd rather have this with them in person because we don't do fighting over text. Fighting over text,
it just spirals out of control because you just continue to read things wrong and continue to read things wrong when there's no reason for it. Just
hopefully I didn't plug that weird that we were on a date.
It's all good. I don't hide anything.
Okay. Because that goes into poly and being friends even after it doesn't work out or if it just segues out of a relationship. It's still nice to be able to.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about poly is that most people can stay friends even after.
Yeah. You want to talk about that a little bit?
We can.
We're here.
I think it's
a neat topic.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
people might have questions that are like, is he one of her many partners that she's discussing at this point?
Okay. No, let's just go with it. So you just mentioned that we get gone on a date. So let's bring that up as a topic. We've gone on dates before.
We have.
And we're friends.
Yes.
Currently, we're not partners.
No.
And how does that work, I wonder? How does it work that we can go out on dates, not end up together, but also still be friends? Because I'm sure everybody at home is very confused.
They probably are. So in poly, again, communication is very, very, very important. You do a lot of it. And it makes it easier, I feel, that you can steer out of a relationship and into a friendship very naturally due to the fact that there is so much communication. And because we have multiple partners, you didn't put everything on one person to meet every single need that you have. Mm-hmm. So when it doesn't work out, you just go find someone that met the needs that person didn't.
And I think a slight adjustment to terminology in that. Instead of it didn't work out, because it did work out. You guys are friends.
Yeah, that's a successful relationship in my book.
Yeah. The relationship worked its way into what it was supposed to be. And that's what I love watching. I mean, obviously I love it when it happens to me too, but the compersion in me, you two went on dates. Obviously I knew about them. Things, of course, things naturally worked their way into friendship, and now we're on your YouTube channel. And you were at our house for New Year's.
Yep.
And it was a blast.
It was a blast.
It was a blast.
Again, I knew. It's all good.
So yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't get from monogamy, is that they keep looking for someone to be their everything.
Uh-huh.
And if you're not my everything, then it turns into some kind of explosion, or it turns into a feeling of I'm not enough and that sort of stuff, where you and I kind of found a moment where it's like, we're both good people. And I recognize good people when I see them. Also, we don't quite have the same things in common, so we get to be good friends and not be a match, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't put a bunch of expectation into you to meet needs. I let you be who you are. I accepted who you were. It's just not what I needed in a partner. or what I was looking for. I shouldn't say need. I don't need anything in a partner. I look for things in a partner that I enjoy out of that person. And what you have that I enjoy is the friendship and what I learned from you. You know, your Burning Man things and your the things that you would like to learn and try. I enjoy that part of the conversation. But when it came to like a deeper connection,
we just didn't have the overlap.
But it's fine. But that's the nice thing about poly is, again, I can have friendships and it doesn't have to be romantic, and I can still care about someone and love somebody and want the best for them and not need to have a sexual relationship with them.
Thank you both so much for coming. Really appreciate all the wonderful insight you've given me on so many things. So thank you so much. I'd like to get you both back individually. If you have any questions, you can send them to ask@kinkypolyatheist.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out the podcast. See you guys next time.